In this system of equations, notice that we have a minus y. So we only have to divide by a -1 whenever we get it by itself. So here it is, and we move the minus x squared to the right, and then we'll have minus 18. Divide everything by a -1. You can now plug that into the y in this equation. So that would be -2x minus 3 times -x squared plus 18, and then equals a -14. Distribute through with the -3. So -2x plus 3x squared minus 54 equals -14. You must have it in quadratic form, or standard quadratic form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 54, and then move the minus 14 to the left. Simplify your constants there on the end. Minus 54 plus 14 would be minus 40. And now we can use the quadratic formula to figure out what our values of x are going to be. So we'll just fill in the rest of it here and then simplify. Alright, under the square root sign is always the place that causes the most problems. -2 is +2, and under the square root sign you have a 4 plus what is essentially 12 times 40, which is 480. If you add 4 and 480, you get 484, which just happens to be a perfect square. The square root, which I was about to write the square root sign because I said it, the square root is 22. And then on the bottom we still have a 6. So you must do 2 plus 22 over 6 and 2 minus 22 over 6. 2 plus 22 is 24. Divide by 6 to get 4. And then 2 minus 22 is a -20 over 6. So if you reduce, it is -10 over 3. You must use that 4 and -10 over 3 to go back to the top. Back here at the top, we're going to use -2x minus 3y equals -14. -2x minus 3y equals -14. Plug in a 4 first. When you do that, you'll come up with a -8 in this spot that you must move to the right and change the sign to plus. When you do that, you're left with a -6, and divide -6 by -3 to get a 2. So you plugged in 4 and came back with a 2 in this case. And we still need to use the same equation of -2x minus 3y equals -14, but now we have to put in that ugly -10 over 3. So -2 times a -10 over 3 is going to give me in that spot a +20 over 3, which I'm going to have to move to the right. And when I do that, I have to change the sign and make it -20 over 3. I need a common denominator of 3, so that will give me a -42 on top, 3 on the bottom. And now I have to subtract. -42 minus 20 is -62. And I have to divide -62 over 3 by a -3, which is the same as multiplying by a -1/3. Multiply straight across to get 62 over 9. 9 will go into 62 6 times, which is 54, and you'll have 8 left over. 6 and 8/9. But don't forget we put in a -10 over 3, which is the same as a -3 and a 1/3. When we put it in, we came back with 6 and 8/9. So you have 4, 2, and then negative 3 1/3, 6 and 8/9. In this problem, you can choose to isolate this y, this x, or this y. I think the easiest one up here would be this y. So y would equal a negative x plus 8. And if I insert that into here, I have x squared minus the quantity of a negative x plus 8 equals a negative 2. Alright, so we're going to have to distribute this negative 1 through to get a plus x minus 8. So we have x squared plus x minus 8, and that minus 2 from the right must come over. Simplify your constants. Negative 8 plus 2 is a negative 6. This one is easy enough to factor. Two numbers that multiply to get a negative 6 and add to get 1 is going to be a plus 3 and a minus 2. When you set these equal to 0, you get solutions of negative 3 and 2. So we have to go back up to the top with our negative 3 and 2 and use x plus y equals 8. Alright, so negative 3 goes in here, and we're going to have to move it to the right, make it positive. So that gives us an 11. We put in a negative 3 and came back with 11. Now the other one for x plus y equals 8, it must be a 2 that goes in for x. So when we move that 2 over, it becomes minus 2, and y would have to be 6. So we put in a 2 and came back with a 6.